Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no paradetective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
You're part Simonese. Oh, it means our meeting couldn't have been mere chance. The hand of fate guides us. But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us.
Certainly so, ma'am. I can assure you my partner is eminent in this particular field.
If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key to the warded door behind the curtains. Take it. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse. What you discover in there.
Unbelievable darkness and ruin. What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Yes, yes. How was it?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
Please do tell. Did anything survive? Have you located the entity?
You don't have anything of substance to tell her until you found that entity of hers. A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room. A barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard. Why does it feel so familiar?
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No one's supposed to come here anymore.
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins casting wax-based magic, translucent welkins with organs shining under their skin, and even ether welkins hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? You should adopt one of those welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a welkin. One of the welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Twarg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with welkin, green welkin, dread welkin, and the high welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little welkin creatures. Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
And for what? All gone. The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. Minimi stands for a mini-meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 41 tried to implement it a few years ago, but failed. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of the universe." This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pesantic. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. Perhaps the web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. All of this is gone, left unrealized. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. A dusty radio computer sleeps on its wired frame, forgotten and unused. Its keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
Another radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone in sight. It's your call. You're in charge of this expedition, officer.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected.
This is where the memory should go.
Nothing happens.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, I got that. What I meant was, what were they trying to achieve with this damn game? What were their ambitions? Because this here looks rather advanced.
He has respect and curiosity for this failed endeavor. This is way above your tiny little policeman head.
Okay, well, I think it looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts. Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West, among the ruins.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interinsulary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but it's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. Like a smooth draw, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I've unlocked the production schedule. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament.
Really? She just used the same password? Maybe those radio computer guys aren't that paranoid after all.
Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today? Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the frame with a quiet determination. The printer starts printing, a piece of paper unfolding like a handheld fan. A black crisscross of letters covers its surface. It's a project report written by the lead producer, Andrew Andy Schott, about Whirl Untethered, a radio game developed by Studio Fortress Accident. The first few pages give an overview of the capital and workforce, while the rest of it seems to be a production schedule. In its short time of existence, Fortress Accident SCA managed to burn through truly insane amounts of money. The first tranche of seed financing brought in 150,000 Ria, but then came the delays. Eventually, the damage reached 400,000 Ria, with only half of the game finished. Let's just say it was a real adventure for their Igaunian investor. Fortress Accident employed 18 people, the bulk of the team composed of writers and concept artists. There were also radio programmers, sound engineers, a CEO, 2 marketing experts, and a single overburdened producer who developed a habit of popping Pyrrolidon in the basement to escape his obligations. Why did Fortress Accident have so many concept artists? It didn't. No, definitely not. A few more producers could have come in handy though, especially when dealing with writers, some of whom routinely skipped work because of mental health issues and extremely unprofessional sleep schedules. One of them even managed to steal some valuable company property before skipping town for good. The production schedule depicts their glorious descent into bankruptcy. Not the concept artists. It wasn't even the writers. With their panic attacks and 3-hour lunches, it was impossible not to fail. The project was too large, and no amount of money could satiate the ever-expanding ambitions of the development team. They tried to make a 4 million Rial game with 400,000 in their bank account. They thought they could bridge the gap with pure willpower and imagination. They couldn't. No, you couldn't have. Definitely not. Not a chance. Even then, success remained within an ever-narrowing margin of possibility that, despite everything, never entirely disappeared. That is, until they discovered the Valley of the Heads. At the 11th hour, the lead designer, Jimsk-born Suliswaf Jalisa, decided that what Whirl Untethered needed was a secret mystical location at the extreme edge of the map. This place was to be the Valley of the Heads, where the heads of all the headless constructs could be found. The player would have been able to choose a head for their headless party member, and each head would have been voiced on air by a professional actor. So many. The last count, there were approximately 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless men, all of which could be endlessly recombined. Do you really want to know? There seems to be a calculation here, but it may take a while. Good call. It's more than the number of atoms in the observable universe. Well, yeah, that and the catastrophic data loss. On the nature of the data loss, there's ominously little information in the production log. It comes at the very end where things get fuzzy and dark, where tables and numbers seem to vanish into an eerie nothingness before the Igaunian investors pulled the plug. What is clear is that one day an unidentified numeric anomaly occurred on the East Insulindian lintel front, just as the Whirl Untethered project was being compiled that day. Something spooky happened with the machines, and the game was lost. The team spent weeks on the phone with Lintel, the service provider, but despite their diagnostics, they could never produce a satisfactory explanation or pay for the loss. Always read the terms of service. And let's face it, they didn't have any money left for a legal action. Mysteriously enough, it seems that the offsite copy happened to be on-site when the catastrophic data loss occurred. It was the lead programmer's responsibility to oversee weekly maintenance of the offsite copy and, well, keep it off-site. An explanatory note from the lead programmer has been attached. S. Luukinen Kilda, the lead programmer of Fortress Accident. The off-site copy was on-site because there was no off-site anymore. Not for me, not after 8 months of crunch. I didn't have a home anymore, so I started keeping it in the basement in the ice bear refrigerator near where I went to sleep. It was perfectly safe there. The temperature conditions were optimal. Her former colleagues would agree with you. The production schedule ends with a few random notes that seem to be added sometime later. 4 months later, by an unknown author. I am the only one left, and it's gotten rather damp here. A few other businesses have gone under too. Slipstream switched to making skis, and the hairdressers just left, cursing Martinez. They're right though. Something's seriously wrong with this place. Martinez, all of it. Still haven't got an answer from Lintel about what happened. All I could get were the physical coordinates of the error on the East Insulindian front on that day. Since the computation happened on air, I reckoned it had to coincide with an actually existing location. I have compared the coordinates to a map of Revachol West. Turns out it's only 800 meters from here. The address is Saint-Brun 1147. I am going there to look this thing in the eye. Saint-Brun 1147? That's what the street sign next to the church said. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. The filament slides out of its glowing nest. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice or several voices talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs.
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello?
you've awakened the entity.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads off into the darkness, while the black one seems to be feeding a buzzing little fridge-like thing in the corner. Don't rip the red one out. You'll awaken the ghosts. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has one cable missing. Somewhere, a machine hums along with the current, happy and contented. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the Revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look? Sure. Okay, here's some more rifles. None of these seem to be working. No! An old Belmagrave rifle. That's rare to find in such good order. Seems to no longer be functional, but still rare. Here, it's yours, officer. You found this place. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find. You see the looming shadow of an ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is slightly open. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? This must be the giant ice bear fridge that Suna mentioned. Look inside. A faint waft of cold air rolls out. You hear the sound of dripping water. This is the inside of a defrosting refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun. The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. But where's the filament memory? It's not here.
Someone must have taken it. What does the note say?
You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. At least it's not running them a loss anymore, now that you've unplugged the cable.
The fridge sits empty before you, an overindulgent wardrobe, now that the cooling systems aren't active. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the offsite copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Sulislav. Wasn't he one of Miss Lucan and Kilda's co-workers? I remember coming across this name when we were reading her personal log. Really? You don't have a single guess? Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on the filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter. I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge.
Didn't you see one right next to the breaker box? This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. Ice squeaks beneath your Kvalzund multi-tool, but your fingers slip away from the tool. The lid shutters tightly as before. Unplugging the ice cream maker will allow it to defrost. Only the black cable is plugged into the breaker box, while the red one lies neglected on the floor. Something close to you.
Very smart. Opening the lid should be much easier after the ice cream maker has defrosted.
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer, the ice around it slowly melting. Ice groans and howls under the strain of your giant Kvalzund multi-tool until the lid cracks open. Darkness lies inside, but you can faintly make out an object, intricate and foreign, left there for a sub-zero beauty sleep, a filament memory with the words off-site copy written on its side. You gently lift the cube from its frosty bedding, careful not to damage it.
We should take it back to Miss Lucan and Kilda as soon as possible. I'm not sure how well unused filaments tolerate room temperatures.
Yes, but aren't you curious to know what's on the precious filament? There's a radio computer upstairs. Tiles on the cube are like a smooth draw. The filament slides into place. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets.
Good afternoon. Please repeat. Is this the offset copy? Good. Please repeat the password. No, that's not it.
Maybe it's the second part of the leitmotif you saw on the stained glass window.
Good. I've unlocked the offside copy.
Ka-ching.
Fortress accident. Thank.
Tiles on the cube are. It sounds like something cracks before the piece of paper starts filling up with pure black ink. The paper is soaked with ink, its monochrome darkness spanning from margin to margin. It's not possible to make out any information.
Odd. Something is obviously broken here.
A single speck of white shines out from the shade. For some reason, the printer decided to spare this one tiny dot of paper. Looks like gibberish. Better get running again. This must be the information Sorna is looking for. She knows how to make sense of it. Tiles on the cube are still smoldering. The filament slides out of.
What have you found? And also, do buy...
It's dark. And the flashlight works a lot better if you hold it in your hand.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of dye are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
As she speaks, her bone-like fingers fiddle with a ring. Her bones light, but her hands strong. Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there is any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Malignant entity? What does that even mean? Some kind of sorceress? What about you, officer? Do you think I'm the malignant entity?
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see. Blaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
You wouldn't like it either. The others would laugh at you. A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
Me neither. I just wanted off my face. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club. A community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh yes, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. Yeah, don't. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. Yeah, the atelier didn't know it either. They produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Really? Anyway.
Poor guy. Suddenly, you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow.
They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula, or Tiumotiri, or Hashtkor, or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. That he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them?
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. Money and time, the usual. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time.
She's right. Showing up to work on time is important.
Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die. The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed. What were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls. Fritta does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. You did what? Ugh, of course they left it plugged in. Even in death, the bear is costing them money. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool. Why is everyone doing drugs in this place? Even the taxidermist?
Megatherion, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly. Understandable, you shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire. Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion.
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the Dune commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
Right, it used to be a gaming arcade. This is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised, however. My advice, don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, floriography, trick-track, especially pinball.
Agreed. Pinball is the worst.
His disdain for pinball could not be clearer.
It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years. Are you sure it was Slipstream SEA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore. Tricentennial Electrics? It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just some kids playing a prank on you?
No, it was something else. It was eerie. It was too real to be just a prank. Either we're dealing with a professional actress, or...
Pranks can be eerie. Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity. Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire. She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon her focused existence.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer?
What have you found? And also, do buy the books. There may be teachings in them. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself. it does need tearing down. Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. The uncertainty is killing her. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Oh, how horrid! I knew something wasn't right about that place. Tell me, did you find a way to break the curse? Of course. I trust my Seminole's wards and charms kept you safe while you perform the ancient rites. All that matters is that the energies are retreating. I can already feel the curse lifting. It will be a long time until we're fully free of it, of course, but still. Thank you, officer. Truly, you've brought a better psycho-emanation to this humble bookstore, and that's no small achievement.
She so badly wants this to be over. She would have believed anything. It will only last a day or two, a week tops. Then her mood will sour and she will feel the curse again.
All right then. All's well that ends well. Should we return to our ordinary lives?
Kuno's like Kuno's dad. Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno? The fuck do you want with it? The fuck? A mug in the trash? Is this about the fucking clothes again? Yeah, Kuno sees where this is going. Kuno's got that fast brain. You saying you picked it after the mug fucker? 'Cause he's the clothes fucker?
I can't hear you, Kuno! Speak louder, Kuno!
Shit, that's tense. Someone's going to the beat-down basement, huh? Mug guy gonna get tied to the radiator.
The kid may have something there. He's already come up with an interrogation technique too.
Kuno doesn't know who put that shit in there. And if he did, he wouldn't squeal. But if you find out, maybe you can...
Tell the Kuno who it was. He's curious. He likes putting two and two together here.
Stop turning into a pig, Kuno! They're trying to get you hooked on the snitching! Get away from my Kuno.
Yeah? Get your bacon shit away. Kuno doesn't like to be seen with the popo. Get your shit done and out of Kuno's face. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Kuno...
Officer! God damn it. Pull yourself together, René. What do you want? What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for pétanque.
Now, no need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
The best, huh? This isn't even a bull. But fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven. It's a Belle McGrave. 4.46 caliber. Breech loading. Revachol made. Good weapon. Accurate and reliable. This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
Yes, what is it? The Swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks. Yes? Thanks. Looks like it's the one. Now I'm going to print it out to see what's left of it. A speck of white? That's exactly what I'm hoping to find. Lintel was able to divine the location of the anomaly from this broken copy. I want to repeat their calculation, only this time with better equipment. Watch. What an intricate display of failure.
The paper gets soaked in ink again, its evil blackness shining in the light of the mainframe. It looks eerie. Sorna doesn't reply, her hands running over the printout. She's looking for something. For her morning star, eyes scouring the millimeters.
Here, I found it. Hold on. Just give me a second. I'm almost...
I've never witnessed a programmer work before.
done. I've got it. I found the location of the anomaly. Thank you. There, in the Swallow. Think you can help me again? I need you to go move those water bolts for me. I need to double-check my calculations.
What an interesting proposition. Truly a task for the intellectuals, solving the puzzle of water bowls.
Figure it out? No. I don't need you to figure anything out. I've got a computer for that. Just walk over to the circle and follow my instructions. Move the third bowl 2 centimeters to the left and the fourth bowl 5 centimeters to the right. This should do the trick.
What? She only wants you to follow instructions. Nothing intellectually stimulating. In this task, a child could do it.
Thanks.
It's awfully silent again, as if someone turned off the entire world outside those walls. Water inside the bowls stands still. Measurements have been marked down around the bowls, each chalk-drawn line representing a centimeter on the floor. Some water spills out of the bowl, wetting the floor. This task is an insult to your mental skills. It moves like a ghost without creating a single trace of sound. The lead programmer sends you an encouraging thumbs up from across the hall. Time to run back, or maybe walk. This is a sacred place after all. Some water spills out of the lead programmer. Time to run back, or maybe walk.
Yes, what is it? Great. Everything should be aligned now.
Miss Know-It-All is hesitating.
Yeah. Nothing. Now the only thing left to do is to unmute the headphones. If we got the location right, we should then be able to hear whatever sound this anomaly makes. I don't know. That's what I'm scared of. I don't know. It could be anything. I mean, what sound does the nothing make? How can you even listen to something that doesn't exist? What if silence is only what surrounds it, but the swallow itself is... Maybe I'm just tired.
Let's think about this logically. Why would nothing be terrifying if it's, well, nothing?
Yeah, you're right. Let's do it.
The lieutenant takes a step back. And then, nothing. Nothing happens as Sona Lokanen-Kilda presses unmute on her keyboard. Nothing but silence. She doesn't talk. Her eyes closed and brows knitted together in a state of deep focus. One hand cupping the headphone.
Damn it! Yeah, nothing happened, let's move on.
Despite her fear, she was hoping for something extraordinary to take place.
No, my hypothesis was wrong. According to this, I should have heard something if I got the coordinates right. Like I said, silence is only what surrounds it. But this is just another failure. Silence sounds like silence. That's all it is. You can try on the headphones. See if you can hear anything. But don't get your hopes up.
Silence is silence? You're sure there's more to it? This can't be it. You should have a listen. All you hear is your own breathing, heavy and hoarse from all the nights spent drinking. It's the breath of an old man. But there's something else. There has to be. Something big. Something unexpected. Something new. Yet to be discovered. Ghosts, speak to me. When was the last time this world had anything new to say?
Well, did you hear anything? Yeah.
The lieutenant looks down at the floor, as if to say, you're wasting time here. Maybe the speed freaks can help you with this. Go talk with Andre.
Hi again. So, how are things going? Yes? What's the deal? What kind of a hitch?
An audio shortfall, you say? Guess what? We got speakers with massive low end. There's a good chance it can do it.
We've got some serious range on this baby. It'll blast her shoes off, believe me. Goodbye, officer.
Yes, what is it? The swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks.
Still nothing. Sona isn't even looking at you this time. old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
It's military, a service depot of some sort. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change. You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jackets? Me neither.
You should still take it. The smell. It's awful and familiar. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be. The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
Eyes up, detective. Something's not right here.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads, Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. A bad fall. It might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is what killed him.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you? Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A .75-liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside.
Tear all around us.
Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too?
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again.
Well, at least you're not married.
Or, what if you are?
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk. Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive. Oh yes, Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure. What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean. It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body. From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle. A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work. Maybe, but we don't really have much time or resources to spare. The guys at processing will take care of the rest. Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Good choice. The less you think about the jacket, the better. The library card is folded into two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Hailostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever. You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary. What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else? I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm afraid they're closed. It says here that the library is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We should try again during business hours.
Anything else, Detective? 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see... the worn and beaten wooden...
We can sit on bed.
You can revisit the bench if you ever...
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting for? Light up. Re-become yourself. Get a load of this rock and roll cop here, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter out of his pants. With a flick of the thumb, there's fire. A primal satisfaction. Here we go. Thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and soul. A nostalgia for yourself, the man you were in your youth. Johnny Thundercop is back, and he's chill as balls.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes gives +1 to intellect skills. Logic, rhetoric, conceptualization, visual calculus, encyclopedia, and drama. This is good before a white check, but damages your health.
A drop in temperature, an easy flow there, an empty street. Before you, a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence. Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow. The road is smooth and motley. Craters filled with a black asphalt. The asphalt, first laid, is grey already. A row of tenements are under construction in the distance. A tub warm with water, white with soap. A man bathes while radio waves transmit the lottery numbers. 4, 18, 21, 4, 1. A modern washing machine rattles a drawer full of silverware. His boyfriend is on his way home. He brings tins of meat and vegetables with him. Their pockets are heavier with money, but only slightly. Number 312D. Young girls used to come here, huddled up, hoping for more warmth than their thin coats give them. The bus took them to school. It has not run for 8 years. There were not enough girls to sustain its cost. Craters pocked the surface. Children played in them until heavy trucks full of black pitch rolled in. The landowners have filled the craters with money. It is a vital artery of the flow of trade. The wind moves the aerosol. A detective stands behind the boom barrier. A breeze moves a curl of his hair. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other. unable to piece together the big picture just now. There's a hole in their hypothesis. The scattering of bullet holes looks like one giant smiling mouth, smiling its deadly smile.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days.
The lieutenant also nods. It is quite a scene. The two of you standing next to the broken wall of an abandoned building, nodding along. The lieutenant is nodding so hard it looks like his head is about to snap off his neck. The lieutenant matches your nodding pace. He's a true professional at this. The nodding's reaching critical mass. You can't take this much longer, Captain. A small bead of sweat runs down the side of the lieutenant's face as he maintains his nodding. It's too much. You can feel your vertebrae starting to crack, your muscles groaning. As the lieutenant takes out her handkerchief and softly taps the sweat off his temple, a faint crack echoes through the coast. Abort! Abort! No. Shit, it's too late.
Busted the neck, did you? Glad I stopped when I did. My neck was really starting to hurt. Don't worry, little man. Now, we should get going.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over a nice water lock.
You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
I'm doing this for science, and so is she. Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. That patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way, being so close to the water. Nothing. Just a hunch. The hunch passes, leaving you there, by the old boy Bob.
Hello, I'm Gary. Very generous of you to help us out, officer. Yellow man. Officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about. after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
Oh, I've been tempted. But someone has to stay strong for Revocol.
He pronounces Revocol with a hard K, unlike other people. Serious question time. This man is no innocent. No one is.
My mug? Why would you think that? I may have had a similar looking mug in the past. That's all. Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you?
Using a standard form, officer. It's 50 real. You're getting off easy. In return, we expect information. You have questions to answer, sir.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the Whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right, it was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty. Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Does this mean you were in his apartment, admiring his colonial mug collection? Perhaps it would be interesting to tell him.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vespertine way.
The stupid way? He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's odd. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next racist will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. Oh, yes, of course he is. I was just speaking about his connections. let's change the subject, okay?
Sounds like some conspiracy topic. You might be able to discuss it with him when the lieutenant isn't here, if you can remember it.
No. I help Morel with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
After all this time with Morel, he must have an opinion on cryptids. This could lead to a good one.
Oh, yes, the burning rhino. Morel doubts he's real, but I don't much care, because I won't be the one looking for him out in Safra Serai. A rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, at least the males do. The flames are not just for decoration. They are an integral part of the beast's mating behavior. During the burning rhino's mating season, herds of male rhinos, all aflame, encircle herds of female rhinos, forming a fiery ring as they begin to copulate loudly. Local peasants call it the passion ring. They fear the rhinos, as perhaps they should. Anyway.
The lieutenant sighs without looking up from his notes. It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels, some even spiritual.
They have special ducts just above their shoulder blades that secrete a combustible fluid. When the rhino is just beginning to light itself, it looks as though it has wings of fire.
But how is this combustible fluid lit?
The rhino starts running very fast to build heat, then stops, raises its head, and sparks fly from its neck, setting its back ablaze. Yeah, well, Revacol used to be a flaming rhino once, a long time ago. That seems unlikely too, doesn't it?
Super solid argument, Gary. Can't argue with that.
Sure do, officer. Mr. Everard? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. Of course. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
He clearly liked his squirming. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door-opening operation.
I told you everything I know, sir. I'm truly sorry for the mug, but I have nothing to do with that.
Uncomfortable shifting around doesn't make him the killer, though. It's something else. Is he? He's looking comfortable enough. Maybe it was just beads. Sounded like beads. But what kind of beads might a man like Gary be hiding beneath his clothes?
I don't pray, officer. Faith in non-existent helpers is a sign of weakness. Not for proper Revacolian men such as ourselves.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks seem like a rebuke. The sound of the city hums in the east. The constant, distant song. Louder on this part of the coast. Nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
You set the apparatus back.
Hello. Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again. Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden, I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I'd never seen anything like it. The reeds turned into a creature. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Where did you go?
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys, that sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel. We were on our first date when I told him my story. You should have seen his face. He said my descriptions matched the phasmid down to a T. Its white marble limbs, the way it moved.
So that's how they met. This is beyond significant for them.
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just Such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
And she could get up and walk right into the reeds on her own. Into the mud. Anywhere.
Goodness, how is he? Did he say why he hasn't returned yet?
He's fine, ma'am. As we had suspected, he couldn't get back earlier because the water lock on the canal was broken. Now he's just finishing up somewhere.
Oh, yes. That's my Morel. He's bound to catch a cold staying out there for so long. But I am so relieved to hear that he's okay. Thank you for putting an old woman's heart at ease, if even a little.
You haven't, however. There are dangers out there. Our aging body's foul. Her heart won't rest until Morel is safely back with her.
Yes? What is it?
Again? I can't believe this shit.
No.
No, he doesn't.
If I wasn't clinically depressed, I'd burst out laughing. But I'm gonna go with no right now. Actually, I don't want to hear you say things.
Come on, Jean.
Okay, say things. I want to hear you say things.
Hear that? He wants you to say things. Say one. Suddenly, out of nowhere, case-related things start popping up in your head.
So, do you know who hanged him? I don't know. Why are you?
It's like you felt it would be intellectually stimulating and would lead somewhere. A custom even? Strange.
Oh my god, there's more. You want something more? What is it?